Daf Chaf Amud Aleph by the bottom by the Gemara. We mentioned in the Mishnah that certain documents can be returned if you find them. We said one of them was Shtare Berurin. My Shtare Berurin mean clarification documents. Hachatrigmu and Baveli said Shtare Ta'anata, the documents that are recording the arguments of litigants when they are in Bed Din. So Reuven says A, Shimon says B, whatever the stenographers wrote. Rabbi says, Nes Israel, Zeborah Le'achad is referring to the part of who chooses which judges. The Mesiah Daf says both actually opinions are quoted in Mesiah Daf, which we're doing now in Mishnah. Ask me about it to join. Each litigant can choose himself one judge, if and the second one chooses himself another judge, and those two judges choose a third judge. So that back and forth is also considered part of the Sharei Berurin, the written down of who chose which judge. Next, any act of court, you should give back. There's one time a get found in Rahuna's betin. The Havaktive, we had this before. It was written on it, in Shviri, on the river by the town by the river of Rachis. And the guy said, "Oh, it's mine." I was a shliach. Ravuna says, "Hashina shnei shviri." We can't give it back, but maybe there's two shviris, and it was the same people there, same name. Therefore, you can't give back to the shliach. The Gemara says, "Go check it out." Ravuna is going to ask you later on, so go check into it, check in the details. Nafak the Ashkar. He went, he checked, and he found the Mishnah. Titran. Kol ma'aseh betin, any act of bedin, you should give back. And since this get is certified by bedin, you have to give it back. Gemara says, Amar le Rav Amram le Rabbi. Rav tells Rabbi, Ayechi peshut mari isura mimona. 1 second. That bedin, that case in the Mishnah is referring to money cases, not isur cases. Over here, the get, you can't just return a get. There's a lot of stricter things going on with a get versus the money case. Gemara says, Rabba answers Rabba, I'm very strong. Tirada calls him like a fool. The next part of Mishnah mentions chalitza mi'un, also talking about isur stuff. So we see that you can give it back. Also a get, like he has said, proved it for himself. Gemara says, after that happened, the column in that Bet Midrash split. Moramar Rambam said, it was because of me that it split, because the Rabbi insulted me. Moramar Rabba says, it split because of me, because of you, because you embarrassed me by questioning me. So that he found it in a type of boxes or things. What type of things is there? What's a chavisa? A small leather skin where they used to store wine in. A box used by old people to keep their utensils in. So if you find it in this, you give a siman, it's yours. If you find them in a roll of documents or a bundle of documents, you should return it. Number 9. Was considered a roll of documents. 3 rolled together. Was considered documents bundled. 3 tied together. So shmamina kesher siman. Does that mean that the knot use itself is considered like a siman? Hatani Rebechia, but Rebechia says they are rolled together. That they from top to bottom, you roll one up, and the end of one goes into the next one and intertwined rolled together. Meaning that the knot is not considered. No reason to believe that the knot is the siman, but rather that the roll is the siman. If that's the case, same thing as roll. What's the difference between 2 cases of rolling? The Gemara says each one's rolled on top with each other, like we said, intertwined. Aguda bundle, they're placed on top of each other, and then rolled together. Like you stack them and roll them. So not necessarily that they're not considered as siman. Okay, my machris. When you find it, what do you announce? Gemara says, Minyan, you announce, I found 3 documents. Who can prove it's theirs? Gemara says, my ear. Why would you say 3 documents? I feel nami. The Mishnah is talking about 3 documents because it's special. Then if you're announcing the number, why would you Mishnah specifically say 3 documents? It should just say that you found documents. So the Gemara says, you're right. Ella, Kidamar Ravina says, Ta'ava Machriz. The guy has to announce what he found, like coins, for example, without saying how many. Hachanami over here also, I found documents. You tell me the number, and then we'll discuss if it's yours. Okay, next part of Mishnah. Let's say you found 3 documents from one borrower. You give it back to the borrower because they obviously belong to him. The Gemara says, "How do you say that?" If you want to, maybe they belong to one of the lenders. Why were they holding it? Right? That's the simple understanding of the Mishnah. Why would it be by them? So the Gemara says, maybe the guy was having them certified and they got lost, and therefore it belongs to the lender, not the borrower. The Gemara says, "Demikaimi." No, they're already certified. No reason for them to have it. The Gemara says, maybe fell from the sofer's hand before they gave it to the lender. The Gemara says, the Safara normally leaves a certified document in the hand of the sofer. Therefore, we don't assume it came from the sofer either. Next part of Mishnah. If three people's loans were borrowed from one person, you can assume it belongs to that person, to the lender. If you want to think that it belongs to one of the borrowers, why were we holding other people's loans? Says, no, maybe the borrowers were going together to have a sofer write it out for them, and then he lost it. So maybe it does belong to the borrower. They didn't borrow it yet. It was written in three different sofrim's handwriting, so therefore you can't say that. Oh, the community, maybe they're going to be mekayem it, to certify it, and then they got lost. I said, no, a lender goes to certify the document because he wants it to get collected. So the loan, make sure he can collect the loan easily. There's no reason that the borrower will go certify a document to make it easier for the guy to collect from him. It's that guy's problem, not my problem. Okay. The Mishnah says that if there's receipts among your documents, you go according to what the receipt says. If the receipt says you paid it back, there's no reason to believe that the guy still owes the money. Remember what Yirmiyah says. Bar Abba Marav, Simpon Hayotze Mitachid Mavev. You found a receipt in the lender's hand instead of the borrower. Even if he read it by himself, it's as if it's like mocking the guy, like, hey, if you had this receipt, you wouldn't have to pay me back, but sorry, and therefore pasul, it's pasul. You find seemingly if there's a receipt, it doesn't mean anything. It does not mean you paid it back. The Gemara says, "Lo mi bai." Obviously, you don't have to say it. Katub b'ktav yasfer, it was written by a sofer. The equal because then you could say svara itrame b'katav. The sofer, the guy lender found him to write it, and he prepared it. Even if he wrote by himself, it's pasul. Because why? He could also pre-write it for a reason. Because Savar, he left himself, maybe the guy will come to me right before Shabbat starts, and he wants to pay me. And I'm not going to have a receipt ready for him. And therefore, the kaparali, if I don't give him a receipt, he won't pay me. And therefore, I'll prepare the receipt in advance. When he pays me the money, then I'll give it to him. Therefore, just because he has a receipt is not a proof that he paid it back. It could be he prepared the receipt. Okay. Next, Tanan, Mishnah says, if there are receipts among the documents, you do what the receipt says. Right? So is that against Rabbi Yirmiyah? It says you don't do what the receipt says over here. You say our Mishnah says we do. Where it says it's Safra explained it. Our Mishnah where you assume that the receipt was already taken care of and it's legit is when it was found with other ripped documents, like the pile of documents that were already done. Amongst ripped documents. If you ever deposit a lot of checks, you have a certain spot where you put them and after you deposit them. So these are the things that were already done and finished. Okay, Tashma. Someone found someone else's loan in their property, in their documents. The loan document of Yosef ben Shimon is paid, the receipt. And there's two people with that name. Both of those people are considered paid, and you can't get money from them. Question against Rabbi Yirmiyah, who said that you don't assume it's paid. Where it says, same answer, is put in a place where it was other finished products were, transactions were, and therefore you can assume that it was good. Tashma, another question. If the orphans are trying to collect money from other orphans for the debt of their fathers, they have to swear that their father did not instruct us that he had gotten paid. Our father never told us that he got paid. We never found a receipt among the documents that he got paid. That it was already paid, which means that if they did find a receipt, you do assume it's paid. Question against Rabbi, who says that you don't assume it's paid if you find a receipt. It's referring to the case that if they found a receipt amongst the ripped, completed documents, then they would have to assume it's paid. Tashma, another question. If you found a receipt amongst the lender, which has witnesses on it, you certify it and it's done. You can collect with that receipt. Sounds like a question against Rabbi Yirmiyah. Not collect, but you can assume that you certify it and then you don't have to pay anymore. So question answer, you say we don't assume anything. Mar says, no, Ima, what does it mean you use the signatures? It PM mehotmat. We should use the signers to certify it, which means the shalim lusad, we ask the witnesses, iparo if it was paid, ilot pro if not paid. And then if it wasn't paid, then you have to still have to pay. But if not, you don't have to, and like according to Jeremiah's answer. Okay, Tashma. Same point, if you have a receipt amongst the edim, amongst by the lender that has witnesses signed. Kasher, it's kasher. Questioning against Jeremiah says it's not kasher. My edim, what do you mean edim? Edek kiyum, it's referring to it was certified already by edim. Since it's certified, you have to pay back. Even Jeremiah would agree. And I can prove it to you. I can even prove it to you. The next part of the Rata says, if there are no witnesses on it, pasul, it's pasul. My what do you mean there's no witnesses on it? There's no witnesses at all. Of course it's pasul. There's no edim on a document, of course it's pasul. I must be talking about Alalav it's referring to certification witnesses, and because if there is certification witnesses, then even Rav would agree that it is good enough to consider paid. Kufa. Simpon sheyesh lavadim, the document that the receipt that has the dim on it, it came b'chotmav. You can certify it's with the signers. In lavadim, if there's no signatures on it, but it comes from someone else, a third party, or it comes in court underneath the signatures of the loan document, kasher, it's a good enough receipt. Why? If it has a third party guy has it, we can assume that it was paid because the lender himself believed this third guy. It's like escrow. It's also in the signatures below the document on the actual document. The free if it wasn't paid, the lender would not have allowed them to use his document by writing the receipt on it, and therefore we can assume it was paid correctly. On the first perek. Let's start the next perek. If you some things that you find you can keep, and something you have to announce and do hashavat aveda and find the owner. The following things that you find belong to you. You can keep it. Matzah piratim says if you found scattered produce. Ma'ot scattered coins. Kirichot b'shut rabim, small loaves in public property. Or round cakes of pressed figs, like picture like a tin with pressed figs making a cake into it. Kikot shenachtom, baker's loaves. Right, these are all generic items that you can't prove it's yours. You can't bring a siman on it. Mahzrot shel dagim, strings of fish. V'achal shel basar, pieces of meat. Pieces of unprocessed wool. Bundles of flax. Tongue-shaped purple dyed wool. Also, something that's very generic. Law belongs to the finder. Says, anything unusual about it, you have to announce it. What does it mean it's unusual? We found the cake of figs, and then there's a piece of pottery inside. Or if you found a loaf of bread with coins inside of it, that you have to announce. Rashba says, any anpuria vessel, which is a brand new, fresh, new vessel, you don't have to announce, you can keep it. We'll explain in the Gemara. Now it says, if you found scattered fruits, but come on, what's considered scattered? Like what amount of fruit and in how much space is considered scattered? Rabbi says, kav baramot, a kav of produce, we'll call it 10 pounds of produce, over 4 amot. That's considered scattered, but more in that location will be considered not hefker. Then what's the case? What do you mean you found this type of fruit on the floor? If it just looked like it fell by mistake, I feel even more than a kav should be freed because there's no way of having a siman. Should be hefker because there's no siman. But it looked like it was placed there on purpose. I feel it was placed there on purpose. Even one piece of fruit, 2 pieces of fruit was hidden in a way that the guy's coming back for it. It should not be hefker. So what kind of situation of 1 kav and 4 amot would be kasher? Marav Ukva Habar, he says, is referring to a case, not that it was lost grain, but it was grain at the threshing floor, where people used to go to thresh their things, and they used to take their stuff afterward. Therefore, kav baramot, a kav and 4 amot, which is too much effort to collect it, and obviously less than a kav as well. The guy is not going to make the effort to sweep it up. He's not going to take it. Therefore, it's hefker, you can take it. But if it's a kav in less than 4 amot, the guy is going to come back to sweep it up easily, to take it back, because it's easier to get it. But therefore, he's not making it hefker. That's why you can keep it.